Elementary music teacher friend, you love what you do, but you might feel unappreciated and, in fact, unseen some days. You may even feel like you're on a music teacher island and just want to connect with other music teachers who can relate to both your struggles and wins when it comes to teaching elementary music. I get you and understand completely the feelings you're having. That's why each and every week, the Elementary Music Teacher Podcast will provide you with solo and guest episodes that will help you realize you're not alone in your music teaching journey. Throughout each episode, my goal is for you to be able to walk away with actionable steps and ideas to help you feel like you're ready to take on the new week with whatever challenges may be thrown your way. Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Peresta, and I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're at home, in your car, in the shower, or wherever else you're listening, grab your cup of coffee or whatever other beverage is nearby and listen in to the Elementary Music Teacher Podcast. Today, this is something that we talked about last night in my Harmony member call. Every month we have a member call, a Zoom call where basically, and if you don't know what Harmony is, it's my membership site for elementary music teachers. You can just head to thedomesticmusician.com and click on the programs tab to find out more about it. Anyways, we have a monthly call where we talk about all the things. And one of the things that came up last night was about putting on performances. No matter what your teaching situation is, it's, as you know, it's a very weird school year, right? So putting on performances with your students is going to look a little bit different than it normally does. And the two performances we were talking about, probably the biggest ones, and it's going to be different for every teacher, of course, but the two biggest performances that I feel like elementary music teachers are asked to do, and like I said, it differs, of course, based on what type of school you're at, what your principal expects, but probably something along Veterans Day or any kind of patriotic program, and then a winter program, Christmas, winter, what have you. And so one of the teachers I was talking to last night, he really loves to do a big Veterans Day program performance. He is a veteran himself, and as you guys watching this, you've probably in the past have done, maybe you've done it once, maybe it's a tradition at your school where you invite veterans to come, you have the kids prepare amazing songs and maybe write letters to veterans and all kinds of other things, and it's really an amazing community event. I feel like Veterans Day program is probably like one of the biggest deals because it gets the community involved, and really it's a great way to advocate for your school. But anyways, this school year, how do you do that? Of course, Veterans Day is already passed, but let's talk about performances in general, okay? What are some ways that you can still put on performances this school year if you in a COVID-friendly way, whether your kiddos are learning virtually, whether you're at school, whether you're rolling on a cart, whether it's a hybrid situation, asynchronous, synchronous, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on and on. And I know as music teachers, your situation may have been told, this is how you're going to do things. And then literally 1 week later, after you prepare for that situation, it changes, right? So I took some notes of just some simple things I want to share with you. You may already be doing these, or you may already have these ideas in mind to do a performance with your kiddos. And maybe just even one idea I give you today will be like, oh, that's a good idea. And if not, that's okay too. Okay, share it with a friend. But I want to start out by saying, the first thing I want to mention before I even get to my list is it's okay this year that things are not the same. It's okay if you normally do programs and performances with your kids and you just don't see a possible way to do it this year, then just don't. And it's okay. You are the music teacher, right? You are not the singing teacher. You're not the program teacher. You're not the dancing teacher. You're the music teacher. So as long as your students are still learning music, yes, it's going to be different this year. That's the main goal. Okay. So don't put so much pressure on yourself and think, I'm not as effective this year if I can't put on a giant performance on the stage in my school. Yes, you are. You are still doing an amazing job. Okay. So thing number one I wanted to say is if your students are allowed to sing, okay, you can, okay, so let me back up. Okay, when your students are on video, they're required to have, permission to have their face shown whether it's even a picture, a video, whatever. So let's say you have some students who still don't have the permission slip signed. Or have permission granted by their parents, then you can record them just singing if they're allowed to sing. We're going to get into what to do if your kids can't sing, okay? You can just record their voices, because what you can do this year is if your students, if you're wanting to record something to share with families or to post on your school's website or Facebook page or whatever it might be, then you can record the students' voices and do a slideshow presentation on top of just the singing. And you're like, well, it's impossible to record 800 kids. We're going to get there, I promise. But, I'm thinking about the patriotic program. I know a lot of you, when you put on patriotic programs in person, usually what happens behind you, you maybe have done a slideshow presentation, behind the kids singing. I'm doing this like you can see a screen, but all you're doing this year is they're still singing and you're putting a slideshow presentation on the screen, so nobody's face is being shown and it's the kids' voices. So you don't have to show their faces if you do not want to. If you would like to do it that way, go for it. But for those kids who don't have a permission slip signed or something, just record their voices and have like a slideshow going on top of it, okay? So that's the first thing I want to say. Now, what do you do when you do have 9 million students? What do you do? You're like, that's going to be impossible to record every single kid singing all the time. Here's a couple of different ideas for you. Instead of doing a program, like let's say second grade, normally let's say you do a performance program, mini musical, informance, whatever else, that is like, let's say 6 songs long. This year, if you have, since the number 6 is already on my brain, let's say you have 6 second grade classes, just record them singing a song. Each class gets a song, and then you can literally like mesh it together, put the songs back to back, or even just use a snippet of a song from each class. Like this class, you're going to record the whole thing, but you're only going to upload half of it. Or if you don't want to make it that complicated, that's fine. But just focus on one song per class, and then the slideshow is still playing on top of it. All right. That is an easy way to do it. So you're not like scrambling to record every class singing the same thing, trying to merge it together, or do one song total. All second graders are singing the same song, and you are literally recording just one class at a time, singing that song. Remember, just the voices, and you're eventually just going to combine it into one big recording. All right. If I'm confusing you, let me know. I talk fast. All right. So mainly just the goal is to just, you're recording singing, focusing on putting something on top of it. It's not even going to be showing the kids' faces, some kind of slideshow. You could even actually, as you are having the kids sing, you could have the lyrics going so parents at home can sing along. You can post, like, let's say a picture of the composer of that song, or I don't know, gosh, anything to go along with that theme of the program performance you're doing. The other thing I want to say as we're thinking outside the box is you don't have to have the kids sing. I know you're like, wait a minute, what in the are you saying? Okay, so this school year is weird, right? And so even if your students are allowed to sing, but you're like overwhelmed with trying to figure out how to record them at school or have them send recordings to you from home, and you're like, this is just not going to happen. Here's what you can do. You can just literally invite students to send you a recording, like give them a soundtrack or a snippet of a song that you want them to listen to, and then have them send back to you them singing. Give them a choice. Say, you may sing with this track, play an instrument with it. Maybe you're singing with the track so they can hear how the song goes too. But you can sing with it, play an instrument with it, do body percussion with it, read a poem underneath this track, or on top of the track, I guess I should say. Give them some kind of, or do movement. I don't know if I said that part. Do movement or dance to the track. Give them any musical element they would do in a music class to do right along with that musical track you're sending them at home or even at school, and let them have a choice. What ends up happening is you can kind of just, if you're allowed to show their faces, so let's go there now. Let's say that you have gotten permission to share the students who have permission to have their face shown on a recording or a picture, then you can kind of like I'm thinking of the acapella app. Of course, you can't put all these recordings together because they'll sound like a hot mess if they're all doing something different. But you could literally, in a slideshow or in a Google Doc, not Google Doc, sorry, in your Google Classroom, if you're using that, or you may be using something else, just share what every time you get a video, just share it there. That's still considered a performance. Is it one class performance? No, but kids miss seeing each other. They miss hearing each other sing. They miss normal music class as much as you do. And so just sharing individual recordings as they come in and posting it as students send it, that's amazing. Now, that the kids who cannot show their face on screen, have them, just like I said, send you a recording of just their voice, or just them playing a drum or a tabletop at their home, and just so you can hear their performance, and you can just put, this is Johnny's performance and he is playing, I don't know, this table at home to this recording. And then everybody knows who he is, but he's not showing his face. So just kind of be creative and thinking outside the box. That's another idea. Okay. Another idea is to record them dancing or doing something in class, just like you would do in informants. And if you're not sure what an informants is, all it is it's basically a performance where you invite the parents in a, I hate using the word normal, but I don't know how else to say it. In a regular school year, a normal school year, you invite parents, teachers, whoever else to come in and watch the kiddos in their regular music classroom time. So if you cannot do that this school year, of course you can't. You know, we're limiting who's allowed to go in school buildings and stuff. The kiddos at home or the kiddos at school, record like snippets of what they're doing. Like, okay, so this fourth grade class, we are allowed to do this movement activity. They're going to be spaced apart. We're not having them touch each other's hands and things like that. And I'm going to record them doing this dance, kind of like a showcase where all fourth graders, maybe you're recording them doing the same dance, and then you're letting them see it. You're letting them see each other's classes, what each class is doing, and then you're sharing it with the families as well in the school. And maybe the other classes for that performance, they're getting to watch it during their class time, send it to their teachers and say, hey, fourth grade's really been working hard on this dance. We're going to count this as our performance this year. Here's the different fourth grades, the different fourth grade classes movement activity that I recorded. Why don't you share it with your class and let them see it? It's going to get the younger kids excited to be, oh my gosh, these big fourth graders are doing things. Look at this awesome dance they're getting to do. I can't wait to do that when I'm in fourth grade. Families at home, oh my goodness, that's amazing. I'm so glad I got to see you doing something in music class. Were they singing? No. Is that okay? Yes. Record them doing some kind of dancing or movement. As long as you're sharing music, you're sharing what they're doing in one way or another, that's considered a performance. It doesn't need to be a large scale performance like maybe you normally do. You can record individual classes. You can just share one grade level. You putting it all together like a snippet, like I said earlier, or you're having students from home send you individual recordings. So just kind of thinking outside the box this year with what normally you would think of when you say performance. It might just be a little bit different. Okay, I should have looked up what the word performance means, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a giant large scale thing, right? There are solo artists who sing a song by themselves. Yes, probably a band behind them, but a performance, as long as the kids are performing and they are, experiencing music, that is the goal. Another idea I mentioned earlier, I forgot to say this part. If you are recording different classes, let's go back to second grade. Let's say that they are all doing the same song. Okay. If you don't want to just record each class singing the whole entire song from second grade, you maybe can find a song with 4 verses, let's say, and there's 4 second grade classes. Each class will get a verse to sing, but they all sing the chorus together. Maybe class A is singing verse 1, and then you record all the kiddos singing the chorus and you put it together, and it kind of gives, it'll give that goosebump effect. Another idea is to do like a bucket drumming performance, or if your kiddos are allowed to do instruments, if they are in the school building, that's a great idea as well. Bucket drumming is huge anyways, and if you do not have buckets, that's okay. Kids, if you've heard my story, I had nothing to start out with when I taught music. Body percussion is huge. And maybe you're like, I'm overwhelmed doing body percussion. Basically it's simple, you guys. They literally just use their bodies as instruments and make up some kind of super simple body percussion piece where, let's go back to the 4 second grade classes. Class A is doing patting. And maybe they're doing one rhythm. Class B is doing clapping, and you give them a different rhythm to do. And then snapping, and then the last class is doing stomping, and you put all these different body percussions together, and then you hear all 4 sounds being put together, and it sounds amazing. So you can record the kids doing different body percussion, even from home. They can participate. Like, okay, the second graders that are learning music at home, here's the body percussion I want you to do, and submit your recordings to me, and they can be totally right along with it. You can record them doing it in a Zoom call or whatever else you use to record music, or to do music classes, what I mean. And then you can tack the virtual learners on with your in-person learners, and you can put it on, and you can either combine it into one big performance where you're putting all the different body percussion activities into one, or you can keep them separate, where, okay, we're going to listen to this class do their stomping, this one's doing body percussion, now we're going to listen to this class do clapping, and this one do snapping. Instead of giving the kids body percussion rhythms to do, you could literally say, your body percussion is patting, come up with rhythms with me. How are we going to do rhythms together? Let's create one together as a class. Then you can say, okay, class B, I want you to listen. Maybe you can just record them doing it. Listen to what class A did. Do you hear their rhythm? Okay, what rhythm can we create with clapping that doesn't sound exactly the same? Maybe you're just changing one beat around or something like that to make it sound similar so it fits together. And this is a great activity for kids to do because they're using their thinking skills and having to listen and blend the sounds together. So that, I'm just kind of throwing ideas out. I hope, like I said, you are getting something from this and you can use one idea I'm sharing. But if you are sending students a track home to practice with, maybe you're just sending an instrumental track home, as you know, is like, okay, here's the instrumental track, sing with it. And they're like, but what? How does the song go? So record yourself maybe singing along with it. I'm gonna kind of preface this like by saying, don't worry about your singing voice. Okay? If you're like overwhelmed and you're like a little like stage fright about singing in front of your students still, and you're like, oh, I don't want my voice going home to all these kids' houses and their parents hearing what I sound like, it's okay. Just move past it, because I'm an instrumentalist. Trust me, singing is still not my like strong point, okay? But anyways, record yourself singing along with the track. So when students at home are singing, maybe you could record yourself singing with an instrumental track you're sending home. Then you're sending them a second sample of just the instrumental track. One for them to practice with, one for them to sing along with on their own. Some great ideas. Music K8, I love their all their stuff actually, but they usually have, just like I just said, they usually have a recording of any of their songs with the singer, and then they usually have one that is just instrumental only. Now, this is something I shared with my Harmony members one time, where I was talking about, and I've talked about this on my podcast and everywhere else, but when I started out, I found an old set of music books, the Spotlight on Music books from like the 1990s or something crazy like that. And those of you new teachers, you're like, what's the 90s? Okay. Anyways, and they have these CDs, and yes, CDs. They have old CDs, and basically just like Music K8, there are instrumental tracks, and then there are tracks with the kids singing along. Not every song has that, but there's some amazing ones. Like I know there's some arrangements for patriotic songs that are super awesome. Like they are full band arranged, where they are awesome. So if you have these old textbooks or CDs that are just kind of sitting in your classroom, you've kind of just put them in the back of a closet or a cabinet, and you're like, what can I do with this? I don't even know what a CD player is. You might look through those and see, like, you might be able to pull some awesome tracks off of these old CDs. Okay. Okay, so if students are sending a recording from home back to you, a good way to organize this is just by giving them a Google Drive link. Or maybe don't give them that, but you could either say they upload it to a Google Drive, or just have them do it that way. Set up a Google Drive where it's a shared Google Drive to all your students, and then have them slowly add to it so you can keep track of it. Or your Google Classroom, maybe you have one Google Classroom for all your students. They can slowly submit their different recordings they're sending in there as well, if you're doing the from home students. Okay, I think that is about it. Okay, so I wanted to just say, though, it is okay to be a little upset and sad this year about things not being the way they normally are. It's okay to grieve the fact that your programs and performances that you love putting on are just not happening this year. And to just know that your kiddos are going to still learn music. It's going to be different. It already is different. You've already been doing this now for 6-7 months. But when it comes to programs and performances, if you're way in over your head and you're overwhelmed, just trying to stay above water, trying to design lesson plans to meet the needs of your kiddos and things like that, then don't worry about it. Because here's the thing, whether you record anybody singing, doing body percussion, instruments, movement, or anything or not, your kids are performing every single day when they're singing along with you, dancing along with you, doing body percussion with you, rhythms, melody, anything else you're doing in the music room, that's performing. So if that's what you count this year as performing, that's okay. Well, hey there. Thank you so much for listening into the Elementary Music Teacher podcast. There is an exclusive Facebook group just for listeners of this podcast and any elementary music teacher called the Elementary Music Teacher Community Facebook group. Come on over and join us there where we have conversations around the podcast episodes and encourage each other each and every week. And also head to my website, thedomesticmusician.com. I have some free resources there that you can download to help you gain traction in your classroom today, as well as the blog and the membership site and all kinds of other goodies to help you keep going in your music teaching journey. I cannot wait to keep connecting with you and encouraging you and spurring you on in your journey of teaching elementary music. Hang in there, have an amazing week, and I will see you soon.